Namaste. Today I want to speak with you a little bit about peace. The things that bring us peace, and the awareness of that which removes our peace. Let's sit tall or lie flat on our back. Choose a position and join me now. This will take a few moments. Become present. Close your eyes momentarily and just drop down. And drop into the flesh, and the bones, and the weight of your experience. Breathe in and fill your lungs completely out to both sides, filling the bottom, middle, and upper portions of the lungs. And with an exhale, wash it through you. Feel into gravity. Drop down into the flesh and release the flesh from your bones. And like layers, one upon the other, each time we repeat, it becomes deeper and the feeling becomes more present. Breathing in from the bottom of your lungs, move up through the center to the top of the lungs, and let your breath expand your collarbones side to side. Pause just for a moment at the top of your breath in, just long enough to notice the sensation, the quality. And with an exhale, slowly releasing the air from a valve, just control the breath and let it flow, emptying the top of the lungs, the middle portion, down through the bottom of the lungs, until you just wash out the breath through the viscera, through your nerve endings, through your imagined yet real roots. And as you wash out that breath, let that breath out be just a little bit longer. Just a little longer than the breath in fact. And through the nerve endings in the breath itself, imagine, if you can't at this moment, feel the feeling of that breath touching the earth, whether it be a chair, a sofa, a bed, the earth. Whatever it is, feel out. And feeling in from that place again, breathe in and feel this expansion moving up through you, not just your lungs, but in fact through every cell of your being, from the feet, through the torso, through the chest, the throat, the mind, and into the universal sky. Infinitely reaching out through the fibers of breath into the space around us. That pause at the top of the breath is a kumbhaka, just a pause in time that's very brief, very momentary, but because of its feeling, it's very real. It's very present. And as you feel into that sense of fullness at the top of the breath, just hold that abundant quality momentarily. And then as you exhale, let that trickle down, and let that exhale just keep on narrowing and coming in and into a sort of gravitational pull, if you will, from the center of yourself, from the spine, if you will, like a danda or a staff. Your spine is this like magnetic pole that's just drawing that exhale in, so it's becoming more concentrated, more firm, and more specific, like a pinpoint as that breath reaches the roots of you, and letting that point in space sort of flow down and into the earth. It's like a grounding rod connecting us as our breath flows out completely. Breath by breath, we become more and more pure in this way, body and mind, because between our ears now, this muscle that we call brain is being used to focus upon this elixir, if you will. This divine force, this honey, amrita, a nectar that is sweet, nourishing, and gives us effervescence. And so, breathing in, feel into this center line within you that pierces the 7 chakras. And when that breath flows up to the point between the brows, momentarily hold, and like a pinpoint of light, see between the human eyes with this inner eye, this expansive quality that this luminous breath brings. And then softly exhaling, allow the breath to wash, to cleanse, to purify as it flows out, taking with it along the way any negative thoughts, any lethargy or dullness, any tamas, any tamasic qualities at all, anything that leaves us less than being fully embodied, fully present, and alert in this moment, now. And you can even see from your inner eye this exhale as it cleanses, moving downwards through you. This sort of washing away the impurities, throwing out the compost, ridding, letting go of that which is unnecessary, not authentically ours, any garbage, letting it go. And you know what garbage does when you let it go and give it back to Mother Earth? It becomes compost. It becomes fertile ground. And we take in, with our next breath in, this notion, but also this feeling, real feeling quality of this nourishment, this food, if you will. And as we take in the oxygen of our breath and the prana, the more subtle qualities that give life itself, we bring that healing quality, that elixir, through all the points within ourselves. But the wheels of the chakras are very good mandalas to focus our mind and our attention upon. They're very informative. And as we pull this awareness up to the third eye between the brows, the Agnya point, we hold it there, luminous, like Buddha, Buddhi, the intelligence within each of us. And from this inner knowing, our sixth sense opens and informs us. And it's when we choose not to listen to our intuitive knowing that we sometimes make mistakes, because we go into the field of logic, which is great, but it is not everything. In the sixth sense, we have this ability to tap into a real potency that is far beyond the five senses or the five chakras below. And it is in this space of the third eye that we can transmute the poisons of our mind into fertile thoughts that grow, that inspire, and that blossom the potential we seek. And with eyes smoothly closed so that the flesh of the eyelids is soft, no tension, no squeezing, just smooth like cool silk. Let the eyes themselves drop down and back a little into the skull. Noticing that space between the physical eyes and the flesh of the eyelids. Take a few moments and a few breaths to feel the quality of movement of your breath in that space. And from that space, let each breath bring greater clarity, greater freedom of movement within. And then as you take your next exhale, hold that breath and that awareness just momentarily at the point between the brows. And as you breathe in, continue holding your awareness at the Agnya point. As you breathe out, hold it there. Notice the color of this energy. Is it luminous and bright? And if it's dull in any way, can we make it more bright? Visualize with your inner seeing. Feel with your inner sense of touch. and in fact, listen with your inner ears and hear that whisper like the source sound, Om, Om, Om. And as you hold all of your senses around this one point, can you magnify the quality, or can you just notice that there's more attention and that this feeling is more present with you now? And so now let's pulse this point of light. So each inhale, bringing in this pure silver light, cool, refreshing, like moon. And as you exhale, pulsing out this heat, letting go of the passion and the fire, the desire within all humans, and just noticing those desires as you notice your breath flowing out, flowing away like the rays of the sun with its golden heat. The inhales are cool and silvery elixirs of effervescence, like the moon and all that is feminine and soft. And the breath out is heat, fire, passion, all that is radiant and golden like sun. And seeing the qualities of silver and gold within every breath you take, you start to notice that within each breath there are also a series of additional feelings and qualities and micro breaths. Noticing that fullness, that harmony that makes up the total sound of the breath in and the total sound of the breath out. And as your mind becomes more steady and more steady upon this quality, notice the boundaries of fullness and the boundaries of how deeply you can go into emptiness, the void. And without attachment to either the fullness or the emptiness, but truly feeling the way as the flow, this breath becomes rhythmic, as does this quality of sensation become rhythmic. And it is in this natural rhythm that your emotional state is being affected and reflected. So initially you may, if you're anxious or worried or preoccupied, you may not be very present, and your breaths will be more shallow and less full, and they'll be a little more rapid. But as you become more stira, more steady, your breaths will slow and you will become like a very smooth wave in the ocean that just effortlessly flows. And the more you can slow this breath wave, the more smooth the surface of the ocean you see before your mind's eye becomes. And the more you can slow this breath wave, making the surface of this ocean smooth, the more it becomes mirror-like. And when it's mirror-like, you actually can clearly reflect the experience that's coming to you, that you are simply, again, the Buddha witnessing and then making choices, hopefully like Buddha, wise choices. That's Buddhi. Our Buddha nature is our inner wisdom and our listening to that wisdom. And so that is the practice, and that is the goal really of all of these yoga practices and mind-body practices for wellness. And so when we say it's a lifestyle, a cultivation for our life, that's literal. These things become so ingrained and part of our life that they become autopilot. And the more we practice, the easier it becomes. And the more we practice, the easier it is to remember to practice. And the more we practice, the longer we find it that we are able to practice without becoming preoccupied or distracted or bored. And so, at some point, we begin really practicing yoga because it's no longer a choice to stretch and do asanas for 90 minutes or to sit and do mantra japa or reading the Jnana Yoga, the scriptures, or any of that. It becomes instead just the way we are. It becomes actually something that we can't do without because it is simply that natural state of being, that peaceful way that when we're born, we come into this world with. But then because of the busyness of life and the interactions with others and eventual confusions and conflicts with others, we gradually, over time, move further and further from that natural place of balance and centeredness, wholeness. That is this place of being in flow. And so, not attached to the goodness or the evilness of the actions around us or the effects, instead witnessing them all and learning from them all, we hope. And that learning informs our choices so that we begin to be in this way of knowing. And so, no matter what each of our individual stories may be, we all have something of value to share and something to shed. but it's the presence of the Buddha within that not just gives us the judgment to make the right choices, hopefully, but in fact is the one making the experience. So when people talk about creating one's own abundance, you can think of that as literal. Because when we are in this centered way, we are abundant. We already have it all. No grasping, no desires, nothing to get, because we realize we are. We are. Bring your right hand to your face so that you can use your right thumb to close your right nostril. I like to place my peace fingers on my third eye. That tactile sense of remembering the Agnya Bindi by feeling a slight pressure, nothing too much, just very light, like an infant's little delicate touch. And then we just breathe in. So the breath now is coming through the left nostril, which is open, and we're bringing that breath like a stream of light up to the Agnya point, and just hold it for a moment. And then taking your other two fingers and closing off the left side as you open the right. Exhale and let that light flow out through the right nostril. At the bottom of the breath, notice the empty quality for a moment. Namaste. And then as you inhale through the right nostril, bring that light again to the third eye as you switch the fingers around. And then exhale through the left nostril, pausing at the bottom. Namaste. So that's one round of alternate nostril pranayama. We want to continue this breath so that this is like a smooth, continuous flow. Take your time, relax your face, relax your mind, feel the weight of your mind, and let the brain begin to melt down through the skull. Feel it behind your eyes, getting heavy. Feel the weight of your mind behind the back of the head, getting heavy. Feel the weight of your thoughts moving down, all the way down to your roots. You wash it out, let it go. Breathing in, feel the quality of spaciousness, air, coolness rising through you. Breathing out, feel the heat, the excess flowing out of you. Noticing the lightness and the heaviness, the light and the dark. Notice that in between, in the center, you are. the lightning rod, the center post, the strong pole around which everything flows. I am. I am. Hari Om Tat Sat. Peace, peace, infinite